And just like that, we are live. And I'm in a tank top. God damn, the lack of professionalism, I swear. I'm late. I'm 5 minutes late and I'm in a tank top. Is this how you run a server? Okay, let's see what's what. So, I just put on my phone on hold. I had to jump in a conference call for my healthy food business. But I'm now back into it. I was recording all day. Things were going pretty good. But again, loads of calls regarding the business. Good stuff, bad stuff. It is what it is. Let's talk a tiny bit about the new course because people have been asking about it, and I think I should say a few words about it. It's an Adobe Xd course. It's mainly focused on learning Adobe Xd in the first, I would say, 4 to 5 hours. And then the rest of it is actual website design, creating a homepage, a product detail page from the same project, then making it responsive, making the mobile version. So that's pretty good. We haven't done that in the past in Photoshop. I think a lot of people are going to appreciate it. Just seeing the entire process from taking it from the desktop version to the mobile version. I think that's pretty cool. The course is done about, I would say, about 55% or so. I have about 4 hours already recorded, completely done, 100% done. Let me raise up just a bit. Okay. And yeah, things are going pretty well. Unfortunately, it's a bit difficult. Every 10 minutes or so takes me about 50 to 60 minutes. So that's a very long time. Me having this voice chat doesn't help either, because believe it or not, English isn't my first language. Who would have thought it? And after a while, fatigue sets in, and I don't have the same clarity. So because of that, I have to constantly take breaks and drink some water and stay hydrated and whatnot. The bottle of water is always next to me, 2 liters per day, every day. But let's get into some design reviews. I've seen something really interesting. Let's see. First of all, let's do a portfolio review actually, because I think this is going to be pretty nice. And then we'll do another thing where we compare the winning version to to another design, to what another student of mine has done. So let's start with this one. Yep. The name, I think I already mentioned that you should only use your first name, but considering um, this is your actual name here, I think it is what it is. I don't like the rainbow here at the top. I think this is a bit lazy. I think this is a bit uneventful. My display name, people don't know what display name is. You shouldn't put that in. You shouldn't write that. Initially, the first impression is that you're the beginner, is that you're a novice, and that's simply because of the fact that again, when you have so many colors, it's the easy way out. It just shows that you couldn't decide on one specific color for your brand, because again, you have to be a brand as a designer. You have to pick a lane. I chose orange, for example. It is what it is. I'm gonna use orange through and through. I chose Poppins. That's gonna be it. Poppins through and through. So here, I'm not really happy with what you did. This part is a bit lazy. I'm a web designer. This is fine. Again, the name is totally wrong. You shouldn't, because again, ideally, what you would probably like is to have American clients from the UK or from the USA, right? Those clients don't like strange names. It sounds, it's not something politically correct. It's not something that sounds nice when you say it on stream. But your names, your weird names, are not gonna help you. For me, the thing is very basic. If I can do something, one little thing, yet that can increase my chances of getting hired, I'm gonna do it. So instead of calling me Christian, I'm gonna say I'm Chris, because Christian is obviously a religious thing. It may be interpreted in a wrong way. If the person is Jewish, or if he's Muslim or whatever, Christian may have a negative connotation. So because of that, I would much rather avoid it altogether. So this is why I'm not Christian. I'm just Chris, right? And again, if someone introduces himself and he says, "Hey, I'm Tom," Or I'm John. That's beautiful. That's easy to remember. I'm Anton. I'm Anthony. I'm whatever. I'm Juhi, whatever. Even, pretty weird names like VSM. This still makes sense, because the other person can, if they have a conversation, hey, did you see what the VSM did? It still makes sense. It's still memorable. Okay, so again, the name is a small thing that you should immediately change. It's a very basic thing that I strongly believe is makes a big difference. Okay, so this is one of the designs we're gonna review later on. So let's skip it. Oh, we already reviewed this one. Okay, let's see this one. Ducky office furniture, beautiful logo. I love that. This full width menu is pretty good. I would like to see less space in between these menu items. I would like to see a more standard approach where you have some parts here and a couple of other parts here. I would like to see a clear distinction between the main menu and the checkout and the cart system, basically. And this is not the case in this specific design. So this part right here should have more breathing room. It should stand out a bit. You should apply a different treatment, I would say. And USD should not be here. The currency picker is not that important. It shouldn't be here. And yeah, I don't think this is actually well executed. So again, this area should be compact. It should end about here. And then what I would probably do is I would probably put the checkout here. Or if not, I would keep the checkout cart here, but I would make it a bit wider. So it would be a bit, again, the whole idea is to make it easier to click and see what's what, right? Let's see, it's about the surface area. Look at this one right here, right? So just make it a bit wider so you don't have to be a sniper, you don't have to click on one specific bit just to click it. This is absolutely terrible. The font, in all caps doesn't make any sense. Your imagination of creation. It's a decent slogan. It's not that great. It's reasonable, but it's not all that great. I think you could do much better. The lorem ipsum doesn't help at all. And the shop now, this is a travesty. You chose such a beautiful green. I mean, this green is exactly what I would suggest you use. But then you use this gray here. The question is, if you use that shade of gray for a call to action, something that should stand out, that should speak to the user, should grab his attention, what are you going to use for a button that's inactive? What are you going to use? What shade of color are you going to use for the button that's not clickable? Because whatever, you didn't meet the minimum shipping requirements, you didn't fill in your information or whatever. So what are you going to do if the button is disabled? If this is the active one, and you actually went ahead and you continued to push with gray, but a different shade of gray. You inverted this design, basically. You opted to go for the darker button, and yeah, wow. Again, this is totally wrong. This is not what you should be doing. The titles themselves, they're extremely vague. I don't think any client is going to appreciate that. This is just you showing off a grid. That's all. So this is just you showing off some images and a grid. This is not a proper design. This is not something that is supposed to actually impress the client. This is not something that any client can relate. It's not something that people are going to say, okay, yeah, I can see my business, I can see my products being here, being used in this specific design. And if the client can't imagine himself owning that piece of design, it doesn't make sense. This is why people, obviously, when you shop for a house, let's do it like that. Or when you shop for a car, when you actually get in the car or in the house, when you imagine yourself living in it or using it day to day, it forms an emotional connection, right? When you see just some photos on the web, it's not the same thing. It doesn't make you it doesn't entice you. It doesn't make you feel alive, right? But when you actually see it, when you actually live in the house, when you visit it, or when you can touch the car, or when you can actually smell it, then you create an emotional connection when you see yourself in it, right? And obviously you could imagine it, or you could obviously just go and experience it. Well, in the case of web design, we can't obviously you know make everything feel live, but we can create that emotional response by making it feel as real as possible. And you can't really do that when you just have lorem ipsum everywhere. Project gallery. Yet again, in terms of UI, this is pretty good. This is decent, but there's nothing here that's gonna make a client be impressed. There's nothing here that's actually gonna make someone fall in love with this design. For a template, if this was for Team Forest, great, nothing to say about it. Totally top notch. But as it stands, it's a missed opportunity. And right here, this space, this shouldn't be here. These should be tied in together. And you know what? This space, if you do, for whatever reason, if you do include some empty space, you have to match it at the top and at the bottom. It should be the same space. Okay. So yet another UX problem. Add to cart is so far down. So there's nothing here that I can do. There's nothing here that I can actually buy. There's so much scrolling until you actually get to some products. I strongly believe this part should be the sub-hero region. You should start with a hero area with a beautiful slider that's really gonna impress the client. That's basically your bonus to him. Make the first slider be absolutely fantastic and eye-catching for the specific product, for this chair, for whatever, because this is a furniture store. So make a beautiful rotator there, a beautiful slider with a nice first entry, and immediately after that show 4 products with prices and reviews and whatnot. Chair occasional. Wow. Again, this is again a missed opportunity. You could have Googled, some actual chair names. This is lazy. That's the thing. 10% more for the 50% a better outcome, right? Because again, replacing those names would take you, 3 minutes, and it would have made the design a whole lot better. And again, in terms of importance, right? What's more important? Learn more here or actually buying a product? It's obviously the other way around. It's obvious that add to cart should be at least as large as read more, because add to cart is transactional. That's the life of that's the purpose of the website, right? The goal, why does it exist? To make sales. Because of that, the add to cart button should be generous. It should be big, bright. It should stand out, right? So that's transactional. On the other hand, this part right here, this is informational. This is informative, whatever. It's just information. It's something that you read. It's something that may answer some of your questions. It's something that may convince you to buy different chairs and whatever. But again, this is always at the bottom in terms of importance. This is always at least one peg underneath the actual shopping experience. And again, the same thing. Follow us on Instagram. Again, this is okay to be placed underneath it, right? And look, this is a very nice area. So we have Instagram and then we have our newsletter. Why? Because we're in 2020. People aren't really all that happy with newsletters anymore, with emails. So it makes sense for the Instagram content to be above the newsletter, right? Because again, it's visually enticing and people constantly use Instagram on their phones. So that makes sense, right? So in terms of importance, that's bang on. But yeah, the rest, not all that great. And the footer, as usual, it's a mess. This should be much, much smaller. In terms of footers, again, keep it small, keep it like that. This is the perfect footer as far as I'm concerned. So we have some contact information here. We have our social media information here. We have our schedule, who made the design, all rights reserved, some buttons for various information here, the navigation, all sorts of things, terms and conditions and whatnot. This is my perfect footer. I think this is what you should go for. And if you're not loving it for whatever reason, again, Team Forest, hands down 100% steal those layouts. Again, in most cases, you're gonna have 3 or 4 columns. That's it, right? 3 or 4 columns of content. Here we have 3. So this is 1 until here. This is 1. The 2 buttons are a second column, and this one the final column. This is all that you need. A secondary divider here. I always like to include this one, this orange one, 4 or 5 pixels or so, give or take, because that acts like a belt. I really believe that really ties it in together. We could obviously, it's not 100% needed because the difference in color is significant. There is a strong amount of contrast, but I really feel like it ties it in. And especially if I have an all a full width section, like at the top here. 1 second, let me just empty this because it's a bit too busy for my taste. Okay, yeah, well, actually, look at this page, right? That page is gorgeous. So this right here mirrors the top part, the full width part. So this is why I add this orange line here, because it ties into this one at the top. Again, this is nothing special. The design, this specific design, it's not all that special. It's not gorgeous. You're not gonna find it on Behance with 10,000 likes, but it's functional. It's functional and the conversion rate is great, and that's what matters most, right? It actually performs, it actually sells. So that's key. Let's go back. Well, let's talk about the winning design versus the other one, because I think that's a bit more interesting. Come on. Okay, so this is the winning design. You can remember that by checking out the tab. Let's see what's what, and let's see his design. Okay, 1600, and this is, oof, ouch, 1295. Wow, and the active area is okay, 1100, give or take, 1110. That's a bit odd. Let me actually see if anyone said anything on the general channel. Your name is Juan. No, Juan is beautiful. It's a great name. Okay, let's see what's what. So initially, the first impression is this part right here is head and shoulders above this part right here. Now, the image that you chose is pretty good. I think it really takes the point across. I have no idea about these designs, by the way. I haven't seen the designs. I haven't checked them before because I was simply too busy. So that's an advantage. But initially, I would say that this part is not as interesting as this other one. Even though it's much more narrow, it's narrower. Even though it's not, head and shoulders above it in terms of various things, it is better in terms of contrast. So this part right here, this photo right here is bang on because the text can easily be read. It's as simple as that. On the other hand here, as you can see, it's really washed out. Live chat, that's life, right? Moving on. The green is really, yeah, I think he used the colored picker, which is a classic beginner mistake. It's really a shame that and he actually sampled that and used it here again, which is again such a rookie mistake. You can really tell when someone hasn't watched my courses, because if I ask you, where should you be in the colored picker? Should you be around here? No, of course not. Should you be all the way here? No, of course not. Instead, you should be here. Again, saturation and brightness. I think I said about above 60%, right? So if you stand in this area and you just do this, any color, anywhere you're gonna end on is gonna be fine, right? Anything that you choose, it really doesn't matter, it's gonna be fine. So it's really such a shame when people use these types of washed out colors, because this is a staple of a design made in 2005, unfortunately. Washed out colors are a staple of 2005, as well as social media icons that are squared. So this is something that you should totally avoid. This is just a travesty in terms of a designer who wants to create something in 2020 using these multicolored icons that are squared. I think it's probably one of the worst things that you can do. It's simple. Use rounded social media icons that have the same size, obviously, and make them all the same color, whether it's green or whatever, or blue or whatever. Give them a nice hover state, and that's that. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need these things. You don't need 20 different colors. Okay, now the video should have a big play button right here. I'm not sure why he didn't do that. Probably because he wanted to showcase this actual alarm. Okay, yeah, I think that actually makes sense. Yeah, okay, so then I take that back. The main menu should be significantly bigger. Either all caps or significantly bigger. The search has no place here because this, from what I understand, is a single product. So you're not supposed to have a search if it's just one single product. Sure, if you have multiple products like I have here, because you actually need to search because there's hundreds of them. Or on my case here, where again, it's like 40 products, obviously a search should be there. But yeah, in this case, it doesn't make any sense. This part, again, 2005, this is one of the worst things that you can do. I really feel like this is a staple of a design made in 2005. It's something that totally gives away your lack of experience. It's simple. Let the photo speak for itself, right? You don't need to include this stroke. At least it's a 2 pixel stroke, so I'll give you that. There's no reason for this word right here to be on a third line. This is a textbook execution mistake. Really upset about it. It was, man, I mean, just increase this box, this imaginary box. It's such a quick, easy fix. I love this part. On the other hand, the divider is a very nice touch, and I've used this successfully in the past. For whatever reason, clients typically fall in love with their logos. So it's something that you should sprinkle in your design whenever possible. Wow, 4 lines of of all caps text. This is again a classic mistake. Wow. Can you let me know what was the prize for this design? How much did this person win? I hope you're online. Yeah, I see you're online. Let's ask. What was the prize pool? What was the prize amount? Okay, so this is absolutely horrible. This is totally skewed. $330. Okay, for how many pages? How many pages? Let's see what else. Okay, this is pretty good, pretty basic, pretty standard. 2 pages for $330. Okay, this is acceptable. This is decent. This is totally stolen from someplace. I think I've seen it on another website, but this is, again, I wouldn't call it 2005. This is probably 2010, but still, it's completely outdated. Wow, but there's so much all caps here. Ready to get started. Okay, at least he is consistent with the call to action. This is pretty good. This part right here, again, very well done, very well executed. I love the fact that the logo is integrated in the design throughout the page. Start my demo probably should be a button. It shouldn't be just a text layer. This is pretty good as well. Nice stuff. So that's pretty nice. This is mirroring this part right here, but it's outdated. You shouldn't use it. But again, the client probably loved the fact that the shield, which is probably his logo that he specifically chose, it's implemented in a lot of places. Yet again, and the footer is nice and airy. I think this is one of the better footers I've seen. Pretty good stuff, pretty airy, pretty clean. I would never actually create a hover state like this. This is again so old, so outdated. And I'm gonna say something that's probably gonna upset a lot of you guys. I'm pretty sure that the person who did this is probably from India. And I'm saying that because I've seen so many Indians on 99 Designs that use a specific style. They use certain inspiration. They use certain typefaces, certain fonts, certain sizes, and certain effects like this one here. So I would be willing to bet good money that he's from India. He's actually from Pakistan. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Truth be told, I haven't seen that many people from Pakistan on 99 Designs when I was active. But yet this is a staple that shows again a lack of inspiration. Because if you actually check on Dribble or Behance or UP Labs, you're never gonna find a hover state like this, right? So for whatever reason, I'm pretty sure that some designers use inspiration from Google Images or from Pinterest or from something like Template Monster. And it's again, for whatever reason, it seems to be tied into that area of the world. Let me see if I can actually show you something. No, I don't have it ready. I wanted to show you a template that features some of these outdated designs, but it is what it is. I'm gonna do it next time. Now let's see what you designed. So again, this right here is not cool simply because there's not enough contrast. You used 5 pixels. Okay, this is pretty good. The 2 buttons are okay. This is exactly how I said you should design them, with a stroke. For the other one, sign up is much more important. So I'm glad that you've been following my courses. It actually makes sense. Cust login, you shouldn't abbreviate, should be customer login. Okay, buy add-ons, okay. This should be gray because it's active. Overall, this is pretty good, you know, feel confident, your staff is protected. This is a good headline. I think you did a good job here. The secondary line is pretty good as well. I think this is nicely spaced out. I think, you know, the size is exactly what it needs to be. It's also the same width. So overall, you're doing a good job here. Sign up gets lost, unfortunately, with this amount of blur. So you could do something a tad better. Again, please stop using the color picker on the logo. It's not a good choice. I understand that you want to feel like you're continuing the logo, but it's not a good approach. Never sample a color from the logo unless it's actually a gray color. And this is far too washed out. Let's have a look. Actually, this is pretty 100% saturation and 75 brightness. I would still not use it. I would actually use, let's see. Well, it's really difficult considering we have this background blur, but I would use actually something a bit more. Let's see, maybe something like this, a bit deeper, a bit richer, right? Get started, and let's do something nice. Let's go with Poppins, for example. Poppins bold. Let's go with 24. Whoops, sorry about that. Okay. So this is the type of button I would like to see. Actually, let's close it off. So something like that, right? And if it gets lost, and indeed it does get lost, maybe something like this. Maybe round it out. Obviously, it should be left aligned, but it is what it is. So yeah, something like that, which I think stands out much more, right? Okay. Now, another problem that I've seen, you know, across the board, you know, beginners love to do one single color throughout the design, which is fine. You know, in certain cases, it can work well. But again, my plan, what I'm doing in my projects is the following. If it's blue, you can click it, right? If it's orange, you can click it. If it's whatever, if it's green, it's not clickable. So that's the type of thing I like to implement in all my designs. And so far I have had great success with it. So if you see a strong color, it means that you can click it. If you can't click it, then it's another color, right? So this is the type of thing I would strongly recommend you do. And here, unfortunately, what you did was you used an action color here, an action color, and then you used it again here. But this is just for decoration, right? This is just so it looks nice. So you should have gone for the different look here. You should have gone for the different, whatever, gray, very light gray, or the separate color altogether, whatever, green, orange, it really doesn't matter what, but it should be a different color. Now this part right here isn't all that interesting. Again, this feels like Lato or Arial or the Open Sans, whatever. It doesn't feel all that great. And it compounds it. The problem compounds itself by the fact that right here, you should not have 3 lines, right? And furthermore, they're not left aligned, right? So this is a clear execution mistake. You should left align them, and more than that, you should not have three lines. I think ideally, probably something like this, and then obviously raise this up. This should be raised up actually as well, something like that, and this part should be just about like that, right? So this is how I would see it. Probably 2.5 lines of description, and yet another button here, right? So something like that would be a much better choice, obviously with less space here. Probably I would raise this up a bit more and whatnot. So yeah, this is another part where you really dropped the ball. I think you could have done a better job, and it seems like this was probably submitted by the client, was sent by the client. And again, you know, this guy was smart enough to realize that, hey, maybe I should place it here in the hero region. You place it all the way down, and I think, you know, you made all these mistakes, and bit by bit, you know, you lost half a point, and then overall, you know, you were the 6 or whatever, and this other guy was probably a 7. Again, I don't think the client actually fell in love with this design, but overall it felt a bit more tied together. Just for the simple fact that here, this part right here, I strongly believe this is what won him the contest. This made the difference. I don't think this part right here really made the difference. I think this scored major points, and then this logo bit right here sprinkled throughout, and this part right here, I think these were the things that actually made this guy the winner. Not these parts, and not this part, and whatever. Let's see what else. Ah man, yet again, this is such an outdated way of explaining some things. Please don't go with dotted lines. It's dotted lines should not be used unless you totally know what you're doing, because again, this feels very outdated. It feels very old. So please don't use it. And again, pure white, maximum contrast, please. Right? Okay, there's no space here. There's no space, and again, yet another thing that you should never do. You should never, never, never mix them like this. So again, we have one style here, right? A second style, a third style, a fourth style. 4 styles in whatever, in 400 pixels, it's way too much. 2 is enough. 2 is enough. So again, right here, it's very noisy. What you should have done is just made them blue and made them bold, but don't increase their size, right? Don't use 3 different, you can't use bold and medium and semi-bold and extra black and italic and light, because it doesn't make any sense. This is a soup right here. And again, you know, the 1, 2, 3, it's not all that great. It's nice. It's not nice to look at. Again, you did integrate the logo, but overall it falls flat. It's not all that interesting. And again, you know, the other designer did somewhat the same thing, but overall he had some areas where he managed to impress the client. I actually like your footer. I think the social media icons, even though they're a bit big, I think they look pretty nice. And yeah, these are well proportioned. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. But yeah, overall, I agree. I think this other guy should have won. I think, come on. Okay, so I think my Photoshop is dying, so it is what it is. Let's quickly change to my screen. So yeah, let me know if you have any thoughts in the general chat. If not, I'm gonna exit in 1 minute because I have tons of things to do regarding the Adobe Xd course. Things have been going great, but I'm really busy. And yeah, I can't wait to actually to finish up the course and let you guys see it. I think it's gonna be very well appreciated. I think it's inevitable that at this point, Adobe Xd is gonna be the main tool in terms of web design and app design. So I think it's the future, and we have to get ready for that, whether we like it or not. So yeah, I think it is what it is. We have to learn Adobe Xd, and we have to learn prototyping. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I forgot to say the date. God damn it! Yet another time I forgot to say the date. It's the 12th of August, Wednesday. It's too late. I should have said it at the beginning. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is Chris signing out. Have a good one. Bye.